Hi there, my name is Matthew Child, and I'll be teaching you how to end a game quickly, how to play defensively when you're behind, and how to ward properly in terms of competitive gaming. So on this map, the map is generally divided in two ways, your red side and your blue side, and there's different ways you can defend. Generally, if you are snowballing in a ridiculously fast pace, the game is going to end before 20 minutes. There's certain key things and key ways you can start rotating around the map to end the game properly. Now, the fastest path to end a game is generally the red side jungle on either side. The reason this is true is because the fast rotations between each lane is inherently faster between these sections of pathing right here. It's generally too dangerous to path in these little areas right here, and if you were to rotate between these properly, you can rotate and get to inhibitors really fast. So when you're deciding how to do this, generally what's going to happen in most comps, but not all, is you're going to send your top laner top, have your jungle steal jungle camps, keep down vision control here, generally with your support, and you're going to force 4 mid. Especially with the new Rift Herald being such a key tool for this, this is essentially making 5 people mid because of the pressure that Rift Herald holds, and you can genuinely get free turrets this way. This is also true on blue side. Blue side trying to end the game. I am only using red side trying to end the game just for ease, but this is applicable to both sides of the map. And this is for if you are trying to end the game incredibly fast, and it's pretty much the most guaranteed way to win. This is a what I like to call a 0-4-1 in this instance, and generally you're able to get tier 1s fairly easily. Tier 1s generally will all be gone on all 3 sides no matter what. And you will either force a mid tier 2 or a bottom tier 2 at this point. With this aggressive positioning. And now what you can do is you have options. Now, if the game is ending before 20 minutes, you're just going to do a very strong force, and then you have options where, hypothetically, if you're going to end in the next 5 minutes and it's 12 minutes in the game, genuinely teams can force through here and end the game. Or if not, because of the pressure here, you and your top laner generally having TP, you can force 1 here, force 4 right here, and then you can have this ability to force a bot lane inhib or top lane inhib. It's genuinely harder to end on this inhib because of the rotation speed between blue and red side, but it's still completely viable. What you could even do is send 4 here, take this out, rotate over, and then take this out, and then force mid or force to end in any way. This is genuinely the fastest time to do it. If you're going to ward the jungle, generally you're going to want a pink ward right here, potentially another pink ward right here, and green, depending on if tier 1 bot is taken already. To show for to right here, you're going to have this right here, green, and this is your general warding. These are your bare basics. There's a lot of situational depending on your team comp. Now, another option that you do have, let's say the game was to end, it's in your favor, but you're gonna take a lot longer to end the game, and you're looking at a 25-minute, 30-minute game, 35 minutes in some instances, and that's when Baron starts to come into play. When you're going to come into Baron, your general warding for any blue and red side is you technically always want here, remember, this is your bare basics. There's some instances where you can do defensive positioning with Baron or more aggressive. So your basic ward positions of, let's say, your blue side and you're wanting to take Baron. It is easier to control Baron on blue side because of the opening that this offers. Your enemy can only come for 2 unless they have land mobility, then they can come over. And your general warding is going to generally roughly be this. These can be pink wards situationally. And this offers you a lot of control. And you can always see where the enemy is coming. If you are on the opposite side, it does require a little bit more vision control. And it's a little more awkward if you're red side, because the enemy has a lot more options to come from their side. They can come from here. It's quite easy to access it from here because of your limited options of disengage as well. Something that blue side offers is, let's say, if you're blue side and you need to retreat, it's a very straight path towards base. But if you're red side, you have to come all the way around. Which means if let's say you're a blue side team and red side's doing it, and now you have access to here and here now, and the enemy is only forced in very small cases where they have to be forced going this way, or this way, depending on where you're coming from. Something that red side does offer is also, in terms of pick or ban, you're going to generally choose champions that can control neutral objectives a lot better. This means that generally red side, that if they're not too far behind or they don't struggle in the early game that much, they have a very easy time taking Dragon. But when it comes to Baron, it's all about control. And this is what you generally see in comps in terms of LCS, in competitive in general, is that, let's take, for example, when red side Varus was a huge thing, and he offered so much neutral objective control, and teams would just do completely losing matchups, Ryze mid, Poppy top or something, or maybe even Shen in some instances, and a low economy jungler. I will link in the description LS's video on red side Varus describing the abuse of this. So sorry for getting sidetracked, but the other warding for the other team is here. This bush situationally is going to give you in here. These are probably your best wards that you can offer. Very rarely will a team come from top side down. And when controlling neutral objectives, there's one key instance that you need to control, and that would be your mid lane minion wave. If this determines on who reacts and who pushes. Let's say hypothetically you don't control the mid lane minion wave, and let's say you're a red side team, and let's say you tier 1s are down for both sides, and you shove the minion wave right here. Now the enemy, who's trying to do a Baron dance with you, and let's say all 5 are right here, have 2 options. One, they can go on Baron and try to force it and lose their tier 2, or maybe even get easily or aced and have the ability to get killed, and then they take Baron and then they get a free win. So there's a lot of inherent risks that way. Or their final option is to stop going Baron, come all the way around through the awkward blue side pathing, and to stop the minion wave, essentially. Now, these do offer a lot of options by controlling the minion wave. That's why in LCS and LCK, in major regions, you will see teams go from that will have heavy control of the minion wave mid lane. And I highly recommend that you prioritize this when trying to control Baron. If your team is ahead, there's a lot of options you can do in terms of split pushing, or even grouping up depending on your team comp. Split pushing is arguably one of the best things you can do in wildcard region or against weaker teams that you go against. Especially when you're going against weaker teams and you know your players are able to outperform the enemy team in a lot of ways. Doing stuff like 1-3-1s, 2-3s. I even recommend like having a Rift Herald. Currently, Rift Herald lasts you on for 10 minutes. So if you were to hypothetically get control of Rift Herald, and you were to have a top laner that still had Rift Herald at this point in the game, and he was to use his Rift Herald abilities, it would essentially make a 2-3. And you guys could force a lot more out of it. Overall, this is how you're going to be ending. Now, on terms of defensive positioning, there is one key lesson I could give you without going too deep, and it's the terms of staying behind the flames. Now, on this map, you might see these orange little pimples or dots. These are actually fires, and these are a great way for you guys to indicate where how defensive you guys should be. And where to. And it's really good to decide, okay, let's stay behind the flames, let's go behind here. Great for solo queue and high elo. Another thing that I'd recommend is recognizing defensive positionings around Baron. You still want to have good pressure around Baron's side, and so you can quickly react and control. Here are my map placements for red and blue side. If you're red side, I recommend something like this. Buff situationally, wolf situationally, generally mid lane will pick that up. And what you're going to do is you're going to essentially bot lane top lane bot, push, control this neutral objective right here. Keep your wards in the jungle. Have your jungler consistently top. At this point, currently a lot of top laners are very low economy and can genuinely do really well with that. And what will happen is anytime the enemy comes in, trust me, the enemy, even in LCK, I can make examples of SKT versus KT. In the grand finals, SKT got very far behind. At one point, they were playing red side. This was the game where Faker was playing Fizz. And anytime the enemy tried to invade in this bush right here, they were able to collapse. SKT did a 5-man collapse and were able to get picks and gold resources again and eventually win the game off of that. This defensive positioning is so good. And also you have great control to Baron and you can extend confidently with secure vision. If you're on blue side, you have a lot more access to Baron because of this right here. This is a very strong point to do. You never want to enter from here. Also, if you're on red side, you never want to enter in here if you're trying to contest a neutral objective. The reason for it is because there's so many blind spots that the enemies can come from you, and it gets really dicey. But if you're coming from this more direct position, they can only come from ahead. So that's really a really nice way to look at it. And your defensive positioning is going to be ward everything under. That would be green ward. Oops, that would be green ward. And essentially, you would have this defensive positioning. Anytime the enemy comes in, you guys pretty much attack them and fuck them up. Overall, this is really, really nice way to create defensive positioning. Occasionally you would have some vision. Let's say you know the enemy wants to play bot side. Let's say Baron's con, but Elder Dragon is an option and the enemy wants to go for Elder Dragon. It'd kind of be the same setup you would do here, and you would try to control as much as you can. It's highly essential that communication is here and defensive positioning. Overall, as soon as you guys get picks, you get more gold. You're able to get objectives. If, let's say, you get 2 picks in X jungle here, you could do a 5v3 or a 4-3 and get the turret and keep pushing and back off and reset and get gold. This game is a game of small advantages, especially when you're behind. Thank you guys for watching. This was my first coaching thoughts and ideas I've posted online. For business inquiries, please check the description below, and I'll see you guys next time.